What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be back to work on our Ferrari 599. As you guys see in the previous episode, we went ahead and got this thing on the frame, and we did a couple of light pulls just to see how the aluminum would go back into place. And I can say it is pretty tough, and we are gonna have to add a little bit more heat to it, maybe heat up more of the concentrated area, because we did have our smaller torch. And the reason why we didn't bust out the bigger torch is because there's still a couple of things on the car, and I didn't really want to disassemble everything. So in today's video, we are gonna have to do a little bit more disassembling. I want to go ahead and get this steering rack off the car and maybe pull off some more of these wires and some more of these lines. And man, I gotta tell you, these Ferraris are so freaking complicated. There's just tubes, wires everywhere. So a lot more complicated than what I did on my McLaren. And I gotta say, it is a lot more complicated than any other car I've ever worked on. Like you guys remember, I worked on my McLaren, and it was actually pretty simple in the wheel well area right there. There was like one or two wires. Not like this car, there are vacuum lines everywhere. There's just a bunch of stuff going on. So I think the first thing we are gonna do is go ahead and strip off this steering rack right here. Get the steering rack off. Maybe even pull this center bar out. As you can see, it just unbolts right here, unbolts right there. You can slip it up, and then we can take off that steering rack and get more access. And then what do you say? We're gonna bust out the torch, yeah?
Yeah, we'll get the rosebud out.
Yeah, you got a rosebud. That thing should heat it up pretty bad. I mean,
yeah, we'll have to use it on low setting.
Yeah, we can use it on low setting. And I think we will actually use the smaller torch with the other torch just to keep the area nice and warm. And then we can get it pulled out nicely. And then we have our HTP welder. And we're gonna get this thing welded up today, hopefully. So the first thing we're gonna do in this car is we need to go ahead and remove this steering rack right here. And we also need to remove the old squirrel's nest. That's crazy. We're doing a little bit more thinking, and we need to remove all this stuff right here because this is dry and it will burn. It actually did catch on fire down there just a little bit. So let's go ahead and remove all these pine needles, get this steering rack out of the way, and also get all these wires out the way so we can get this thing heated up to the proper temperature so we can pull it out better. So check it out, we got a lot of stuff taken out of the way. We went ahead and removed this center beam right here. And let me tell you guys, this car is dirty. There's just oil and grease everywhere, and we're having a little bit of trouble getting the steering rack out of here. Look how it goes in. So basically what we're gonna have to do is probably remove the sway bar link under there. It's crazy how they just like jammed it up in there. Most cars you can just unbolt two brackets, slide it down under. Ferrari is a little bit different. And I think we are, what do you say? We're gonna have to go ahead and probably take off this
the control arm.
Yeah, probably take off the control arm just to get to that sway bar.
It's broken anyway, I think.
Yeah, it is, but we do not have a new control arm just yet. Sam is still working on getting one from England, and we're gonna have to just wait on that. But right now, we're gonna go ahead and disassemble this passenger side, get everything off, and get this steering rack fully off. And then we'll have to do a little bit of cleanup because we don't want this thing catching on fire. There's oil and grease everywhere on this car. So let's get this stripped down, get everything cleaned up, and then we'll be ready to do some serious framework. So check it out, we got the entire car all stripped down and ready for some more heating, and turns out we didn't actually have to take anything off that passenger suspension area, so that's pretty cool. We just slipped the steering rack clean out of there, and bam, check out this side. Everything is stripped down and ready to go. Same thing with this other side. And what I think we're gonna do, we're basically just gonna heat this entire bottom area, because I mean, that's really where the main crack is, right there. So we're gonna heat that, pull that back over. And what I wanna do right now is actually head over to Ace Hardware and grab a laser thermometer so we can get this thing up to the perfect temperature before we do any pulling, so we don't cause any more extra damage. So we just made it back from Harbor Freight, and we did have to pick up this laser thermometer right here. And this thing was only like $14. They had a sale on it. And then we have our 9-volt super heavy duty battery. That right there, that can power this Ferrari. Yeah, can you go ahead and open up that thermometer for us?
Yeah. You gotta make a clean cut in case you want to return it.
Exactly. So what we're gonna do right now is go ahead and bust out this little torch right here. It got some nice little rosebud on it. And I think it should be able to heat all this up. I think we're gonna get it to like 150 degrees. Basically this entire area right here needs to be heated up so everything can get pulled out nicely. And we are gonna have to bring the frame post back over here. We just moved it out the way while we were disassembling stuff. So let's go ahead and bring that thing over here and get to heating, and hopefully we can get this thing pulled out and welded up. We got the puller back on there. Now we're gonna light up this torch right here, and this thing should heat it all the way up. And check out how nice this little thermometer is. All you do is point and shoot, and check that out. The frame right now is 60 degrees. We gotta make sure this thing is accurate. I wonder how hot that's gonna be right there.
Hey, we're about to fire it up and find out.
Cause I know, let me check it. How do we, 400 degrees. That's crazy. It's not the most accurate, but it works. And now, basically what we are gonna do is go ahead and heat up this entire area and start pulling it out. So check it out, we heated it to around 300 degrees, and now it's ready to go and ready to be pulled. So go ahead and give it a pull and let's see how it comes out. All right, stop right there. So check it out, guys, we got it pulled into position, and while this thing cools down, we're gonna go ahead and set up our HTP welder. HTP is actually having a big Black Friday sale, so if you're in the market for a new welder, definitely check out HTP. I'll drop a link down below. This thing is an absolute beast. You can actually MIG weld aluminum, you can MIG weld steel, you can also do TIG welding, and I'm pretty sure you can do stick welding. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, you can do stick welding. You can pretty much do everything in one machine. That's why I use this thing on every one of my projects, and it has not let me down. So if you're in the market for a new welder, definitely check them out. They have some huge deals going on right now on Black Friday, and I think they're going on all the way till next week. Now let's go ahead and set it up, because right now it is set up for steel. So we're gonna go ahead and put this aluminum spool in here, set it all up, and then we'll have to do a little bit more cleaning on here. We're just kind of letting it cool down because everything was at like 300-400 degrees. So let's get straight to it, get this welder set up. like that, we just converted this thing to do aluminum. All you have to do is simply switch out the leads. And then this right here is actually a variable heat controller on the actual handle, which is actually super nice. And now what I'm gonna do is go ahead and do a couple of test welds, make sure everything is set up perfectly on the welder. And then we're gonna have to come over here and clean this area really nice. We'll probably even have to go get some brake parts cleaner just to clean off any oil and any other excess debris so we get a nice clean weld. So check it out, I was doing some practice beads right here on the side, but I didn't have the settings right. And then check out that weld right there. I went ahead and dialed everything in. It looks good on the top. And then if we look inside, we don't see anything bleeding through, which is a very solid, strong weld. Now, little bro Nate said he wants to give it a shot. So let's see what you do. Basically just like an inch, like leave it right here, like that. And then just weld forward and move it side to side. And let's see what this kid got. I'll put your hand there.
Wait, how slow do I gotta go?
No, you gotta go way slower. You gotta melt the aluminum, guys. Check that. What do y'all think about that weld right there? No, hey, no. What are you doing? Look, let me show you. Like this. Look, I'll do it one-handed for you. You removing the slider? That's how you want to. All right, that's not good either. Well, I guess I can't weld without a mask either. So we're gonna continue doing a couple of test beads, just get in the groove, because I haven't welded aluminum in a while. I think the last thing I welded was the Mustang radiator, and that's been like 3-4 months now. So we're gonna do a couple more test welds on here, and then we're gonna grab the wire wheel, clean all that up, wipe it all down with some acetone, get it perfectly clean, and then we can weld that up. So check that out. Even Yuri went ahead and gave it a try, and man, isn't that awesome how you can weld? You can weld steel and aluminum within like 10-minute difference. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's really cool, especially the fact that you've got a MIG feeding an aluminum wire.
Because I mean, learning how to TIG weld is pretty hard. Like I just tried to do it, and putting some beads down like that right there is going to take a lot of time and practice. And I mean, all we do around here at the shop is MIG welding. So as soon as you pick up that aluminum MIG welder, I mean, you can get it down pretty quick. And man, I do love the way that looks right there, and has really good penetration. And I actually sent it to a representative at HTP, and he said it looks good. And now what we need to do is go ahead and prep this area right here for some welding. What that means is we're gonna have to cut a little bit more material out, wire wheel it, clean it with some acetone. What do we clean it with? Acetone. Really,
alcohol is preferable, but yeah, I think like brake parts cleaner might work.
Yeah, that should work. Just get that area nice and clean, and we can weld it up. I mean, there's really not much cracked. I mean, it just cracked right here and cracked right there, so we have to put a nice bead in here. We'll probably grind it down, throw another bead on top just to make it nice and solid. So let's go ahead and get this C-clamp off right here. We're not gonna release the tension on this pulling tower just yet. We're gonna let that sit and let it cool down. Even after we weld it, we'll probably let it sit, cool down. So we won't unclamp anything until everything is nice and cold, because that's the thing with aluminum, is you want to let it cool down. So steel isn't really that big of a deal whenever you're trying to let it cool down, but aluminum has a lot of different characteristics. So let's go ahead and grab the grinder, clean it up a little bit. We'll even wire wheel it, make the surface 100% clean, wipe it down with some alcohol, and then weld it up with the HTP Pro Pulse 220 MTS. So check it out, we got it all nice and grinded out, and we also hit it with a wire wheel and then sprayed it down with some brake cleaner just to make sure it's a very nice welding surface. Now what we need to do is bring that temperature of that cast up to 200 degrees, and then we can go ahead and weld it all up. So we're just gonna heat it up with this light torch, because unfortunately our other torch ran out of gas, and it is a Thanksgiving weekend and really nobody is open right now. So let's go ahead and heat it up with this, and put the HTP to work. So we got the frame section all heated up with the butane torch. Now it's time to go ahead and turn on the HTP welder and get this sucker welded in. So check it out, we got this thing nice and welded up, and exactly where that crack is, we put a nice thick bead right there. We ground it down a little bit and threw another one. And then right here, I did have to build up this edge right here because it was kind of missing, and it looks really good. It's very solid penetration right there. Right here, I was just kind of covering stuff up, so it doesn't really look the best. But now what we're gonna do is go ahead and grab the grinder and smooth everything out as much as possible to make it look exactly like the passenger side. So check it out, we went ahead and did a little bit of grinding. I didn't really want to grind it down too much, and we left the top weld for now, just in case if we do have to pull anything. I don't want to get rid of all the welds, but man, does it look good. We'll have to weld up a couple more spots right here, but man, check out this side right here. And then bam, look at that side right there. It's almost there. It just needs a little bit more welding and a little bit more finesse work. But it's getting pretty late here at the shop, so I'm gonna catch you guys tomorrow morning. We did do a lot of work on this car. Tomorrow we have to just finish up fixing this cross member right here. We're gonna pull this out, and then we gotta get the square proper on this car. And same thing with these side brackets. Should be pretty simple. Now that we have the welder perfectly set up, we'll have to go ahead and weld all this aluminum back together. And I mean, this stuff isn't really that big of a deal. Just basically heat it up a little bit, straighten it out right there, weld this up, and then we'll also have to weld this bracket on right there. Pull the square straight, and bam, it is good to go. We'll get everything sprayed in, and then this thing can come off the frame machine. So guys, it's the next morning here at the shop, and we're gonna be back to work on the Ferrari. As you guys seen yesterday, we got that entire frame piece welded up, and what can I say? The HTP welder did an amazing job welding up that aluminum, and I'm super happy with the way it looks right now. I mean, this ain't even the final finished product. It's still gonna need a little bit more grinding and a little bit more finesse work. And then this top weld, I think we're gonna leave it like that. We're not gonna grind it all down so it doesn't lose any of its strength. Now what I wanna focus on today is going ahead and getting these cages welded back up. As you can see, this one has a little crack right here. There's a crack right there. And then this top section is cracked right here. Let me see if I can show you. Yeah, you can see right there. So we're gonna have to grind everything down, clean it all up, weld it back together. And then on the bottom of this section, piece actually completely ripped off. So we have to get that welded back up. So I think we're gonna start with this cage on this side, get it welded up, and then finish up welding up there. So we got it all nice and welded up, and check that out. We did have to fill in a little bit of aluminum right there, and we're not gonna grind any of it down until we get the fender and the bumper on and line everything up perfectly. But the thing about these Ferraris is there's a lot of adjustment. They don't make these cars perfect from the factory. I mean, just look at the headlight bolt. There's so much adjustment, and usually everything's different from one side to the other. And I mean, these are all hand welded at the factory, so things happen. And I mean, if you guys want to hate on my welds, I mean, some of Ferrari welds, you can see this piece right here. There's not even, it doesn't even finish welding. They just tacked it together, or like, look at that right there. And everybody knows Ferrari welds are not really the best if you ever seen them. But now that we got that welded up, we're gonna go ahead and weld up this piece right here. As you can see, whenever we're moving all this into place, this crack closed up perfectly. You can barely even see it's cracked now because this thing is in the right place. So we're gonna go ahead and weld this up and move all these wires out the way and weld all of that up over there. So check it out, guys. We got the cage welded on there perfectly. Everything is nice and solid. It's not going anywhere. I also went ahead and welded this right here. I kind of did put a little thicker bead than what was on there previously. You can see that's the factory weld right there. And then mine kind of goes on top. I mean, it has good penetration. This thing is not moving anymore. We also welded this up right here. Pretty nice and solid. The only thing is it was putting a little bit too much material, and I think we might have to change out either the wire or change with some of the settings because we were welding that thicker stuff right there. And unfortunately, we can't get that center bar because it has been Thanksgiving weekend and everything is closed. Nobody's open right now. Today is Saturday, so we can't get that. So Monday, once we can go get some more metal, we'll go ahead and finish all that up. And we also need some more acetylene for the torch, because as you can see, that is a pretty small torch, so it ran out of fluid pretty quick. So once we get all that Monday, we can go ahead and knock out the rest of this framework. There's really not much left. Basically, put the center bar in, pull this forward, and that's pretty much it. I mean, this side is all nice and welded up. So guys, that's gonna be a wrap for today's video. We got a lot of work done on the car. We got the main area nice and welded up. We also pulled it a little bit more, got it into place, got this side cage welded up, and we are doing a lot of aluminum work, and it's kind of uncharted territory for me. I haven't worked with aluminum in quite some time, and unfortunately all the stores are closed right now, so we can't get any more metal or gas to finish up the framework today. So we're probably gonna have to catch you guys Monday with that video. I think we'll be able to get this car off the frame. I'm honestly can't wait to put the suspension on it and just see how everything lines up. But if y'all enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button. Also follow us on Instagram at vTuned, and don't forget your post notifications on so you don't miss any more future Ferrari videos. Thanks for watching.